company out of Ohio that does the culverts that we explore with the city, and they had them design a culvert that would be appropriate for that area. And so these are pictures of the estimate that they sent to us. It's a little over $13,000 for this aluminum box culvert. This is an overhead view. It's got these head walls, and it's got here's a cross section of the front. Here's the head walls there. It's got a bottom piece and then an arch. You're seeing the front face up here, and then you can kind of see how the interior ribs look on the structure of that sort. So it's sized for that flow rate. What you do is you dig back some of the bank, you put down gravel, you lay this thing on there. It's got a flat bottom inside, and you pile rock and gravel on it, put dirt on top, and that's it. It just stays there forever. In the worst case scenario, 200-year flood, the water goes over the top. So that's the arrangement we're talking about here. And this would be, this is kind of hard to see, but here's the Pennzoil oil change place right here. Here's the creek. This is a non-existent path that you can imagine where it might be going. And here's a little bridge that might rest on top of that culvert. Now, I'm not saying this is accurate. This is a narrow little bridge, and it might be higher up, and it might be in a slightly different location. But you can see here sort of what we're proposing. In the long term, hopefully there'd be a trail that would go over here, and across there, going along behind Fazoli's and on toward 519. So this is what we're talking about, that area right there, changing that area right there. The reason why that's important, that particular location, is if we do the other thing that we talked about, that would give us the following arrangement. We already have a loop around the city park. You can already get to the city park from MSU, right? You can walk there, you can ride a bike there, or from downtown. If we added this culvert crossing, then you could get from the city park, along that memory trail, across that branch, and you could get behind, you could get all the way to KFC, Fazoli's, Cinema, Buffalo Wild Wings. We know that 40% of the students on campus who are enrolled have parking passes on campus. It's about right, 40%. So but most students, I don't know any students who walk or ride a bike over there. But I know from talking to the Buffalo Wild Wings folks and the Cinema folks that when the students are out, like over Christmas break, their business dips significantly. If we provide more access to the students in the form of a path they can take without a vehicle, that's going to help those businesses too. So that gets us to a place where you can go from here, where there are lots of people, over to there. And then you can go from back the other direction. Of course, you can get back to the city park along this Memorial Tree Walk. That gives you the city park, and then you can go in from there. And what that would give us would be the following situation. So we have it's kind of hard to see, we have the part that ends right there behind the cinema. We have this first thing we asked for, the Boone Holland, right? And then here's the old subdivision. You were right about that. You can go through here, but you can't cross. This is a significant crossing, right?
Behind Wild Wings.
Right behind the cinema, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. So what we have this and we have that. It puts pressure on us to get that fixed in another bridge or another culvert or something, and then you got to go all the way through. So we're thinking strategically that other place is the place to push. It's the cheaper of the two. We think we're going to get permission pretty soon for that, and once we get that, then this becomes the focal point for the next step. So. Yeah, there's the culvert going over that branch, right? So there it is, and then you would be able to get through, and then you would have connect the trail all the way through. Okay, so that's what we want to do. Thanks so much for your kind attention. You might have a question for me before I sit down.
I appreciate that presentation. That pretty much
So that culvert,
lays it out.
I think you covered, that was going to be my only question, Scott, was
Yeah.
on. You know, we're looking so much about flood mitigation. We see that design will take care of that. We won't have to worry about any clogging there that's going to cause worse problems.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you, I go back to the specs of this thing, but I have no expertise here.
But he did it based on the 100-year plan, so.
It's based on 100-year flood. I mean, I don't know, Joe, maybe you want to speak to this.
Have you seen it, Joe? Have you seen those
Yeah,
plans?
Leon, when he designed all that originally, It's accommodating to the 100-year flood, but in case of any debris clog or anything, it's low enough, you're gonna dip down a little bit instead of being raised up all the way, that it will clear the top of it and will go on across the top of it and clear on out. So you're not gonna hold water back that much there if it does clog. And then it can be cleaned out after that fact if it does.
And it's real low, and it's right next to it's close to the 60, but it's not right up against the 60. So, yeah, there's quite a drop off there.
Right.
Scott, has the property owners been talked with, above the city park, going towards the soccer park, that land, which used to be Philip Lewis's property, have you all spoken with the landowners there yet?
On the other side of the city park,
Yes.
going towards the tobacco warehouse? you
Yes.
mean? No, we haven't talked to them about. This
We had
group,
looked at that quite some time back.
yeah, this group has been talking. They're almost 25 years now, and
Yeah.
I've only been at this maybe 3 or 4 years. So there may have been people talking about that. I don't know, or may have even contacted those people, and I don't know. But just in this stage, we're only, we'd just be
Let's get
delighted to
something
get this one
Yeah,
piece
right.
of
Let's
it.
get something.
We'd love to, if there's a Sunnybrook, we'd love to connect to that.
Yeah.
There's talk about a utility corridor that would take you all the way there. That would be great. There's all kinds of possibilities with the jail. We've talked to the jail. They know we want to go between the jail and the creek. So, yeah, these are all really good questions. We'd like to see it go from Ashland to Lexington.
We had looked several years ago, just being able to connect the two parks that we have, with the soccer park to the city
Yes.
park.
Yes.
Let's.
Yeah. It would make a lot of sense. It'd be great. I'd love to be able to send my kids from my house,
Exactly.
ride your bike to soccer, go to City Park, go down the path. It would be great.
Well, when they did the expansion of the gas line a few years ago up by J.C. Farm,
Right.
there's a swath cut about 25 feet that they use it for maintenance vehicles,
Right.
and that runs almost to Sheltoway. So there could be
Yeah.
an eventually, and
So
that'd be nice to
yeah.
even connect to that. If we just do it
Right.
piece by piece. So
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Any other questions for Scott?
Is this
Appreciate.
something we need to vote on tonight, or is this?
If someone wants to make a motion to, go back to your two things real quick, just so we can refresh us, the first two.
We're not asking for any additional money than the $5,000 we already set aside.
That's right. No, that's right. We're gonna.
Phase one is just allocating that for that specific purpose.
Basically, the first question was the sign and doing
Yeah.
it on, and the second piece
So we
is,
have to act on this, or is it something?
The money's there, you can just request the $5,000 and we give you a check.
okay.
They don't have to authorize how you spend it.
We authorize the money for that.
Here's the thing though, we're not clear about whether this has to be bid or whether we can pay a construction company to put something in that the city's responsible for.
It's on city right away.
See, that's the problem. So I don't know how much of it has to go through the city. We did get an offer today, just today, hours before I arrived, from a local construction company whom I won't mention, to donate the machines to put this in. And we would only pay them by the hour for their labor. They would donate the people and the machines. And then we've got an estimate from Contact, $3,600 to assemble the thing on the site for us. So
It's
we're getting very clear about
It's
the
under
cost.
20,000, so it's under
Oh,
model.
you have to have bids if it's over 20, so it's under 20.
If we stay under 20, then you wouldn't
Instead
have
of
to.
20,
Okay.
it's model procurement. Yeah.
Okay,
No.
well, that might solve the problem.
Yeah.
When you add the gravel in and everything, like I said, I don't have the expertise, but that would be great if that solves the problem.
Well, I think it's just to show that we can put it in the minutes. I'm not sure that you actually have to have it, because Joe would have to file it for you anyway. But I'd be happy to make a motion to grant the request submitted by the Rails to Trails group, and that we move forward with this project.
I'd be glad to second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Atkins? Bishop?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
Patrick? Seeger?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Scott. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Very interesting.
And it's good because as Joy Brown has fought and battled and scratched and all the things she's done to help us help us become a third trail town, we want this to be a destination for people who want to go on trails, especially Sheltoway, and we want to be able to do that. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments? Yes, ma'am.
And if this is a topic I could talk about later, you can let me know, but with the Triplet Creek watershed, one of the current grants that we currently have, we had 2 stream bank restoration, or stream bank stabilization projects budgeted. The second project has fallen through because of a land owner on the other side of the stream will not sign off on the project, now. So, I'd like to move then the second site that we already have an engineer contracted to do the work, to work on this, doing a design plan, for below Bridge Street to the Pennzoil, so that we could do some stream bank stabilization and work on alleviating the issues with the island formations that you get down and through there. And it would also be doing some habitat improvement, inside the stream as well as on the banks then as well, through there. And then there's another island that's kind of down by the gravel road. The project for that, the engineering work on that would also remove that and move it over, and then it could be, all that sediment and dirt that's a separate island in the middle of the creek would then be moved over to the edge.
That is the matching grant.
This is,
We're
so,
responsible for 40%, is that correct?
yeah, so this, with this grant, I have to have 40% match, so if the city can do that. I did get a pricing from the engineer firm for $39,900 to do all the engineering, and that including all the documentation needed for the permits. The permits will have to be, of course, a local permit, state permit, 2 different state permits that we would have to have, and then one with the Corps of Engineers. We did meet with the Corps of Engineers. They are, my understanding, you can correct me, Mayor Trent, on that, but they were okay with us moving forward with a completely different design than what has been put in place down in there, because they stated that they no longer do work and really feel that the city benefits from trying to maintain the area in such a way from an agreement in 1971, that they don't consider that a valid process anymore. So they were supportive and in favor for us to move forward with something completely different.
Tell the council who all was at that meeting.
We had 3 folks from the Division of Water, we had 2 folks from the Corps of Engineers, we had from the local office Thomas, Darren Brummage from the Louisville office, John Walker with the U.S. Forest Service was here, Walter Blevins was here, you were here, we had Gail Wright and Jason
From Gateway.
Boggs from the Gateway were there.
I think that's pretty much
Did I
it.
miss? Okay, maybe.
And it was a significant amount of time, and they, this is what you're this is what they've approved for you to come out of, right?
Yes.
For now.
So I wanted to make sure that I just got approval from Morehead State University that I can use the engineering firm that I already have on contract without going out on another bid process with that, because it's under 40,000 that they came over and are already on contract with us for another project.
So what do you need council to do tonight?
The council to kind of approve moving forward. They are more than glad to come in and develop some preliminary plans, bring them to the next city council meeting to give you a feel for what it might look like. And just that you all would support it financially, to be able to move
Will this come
forward with
next
us.
fiscal year, this grant application and the 16,000 we would have to come out with?
No, that would be on this fiscal year,
And
so,
how much money are we talking about?
16,000.
16,000.
yeah.
All right, so you're wanting permission for them to come and speak to us in April. We don't have to take any action right now. You just wanted to see if we have interest to look at it, right? And then we'd make the decision after the presentation on whether we, is that what I'm?
Could move forward. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd want a pretty good, good faith that you all were seriously interested in doing this before I would ask the engineering firm to put in, you know, a lot of
Right,
time.
but they would come in April and just give us a preliminary,
Yes, a
proposal
very
is what it
preliminary
would be.
proposal, so you could see what it would generally
have
look
you
like.
seen anything to council on this yet?
I have not.
Okay, so why don't,
So,
if you all would care, why don't she put together something she can send to us and give us some preliminary so we can be prepared to that? We don't have to take any action tonight, just say we would be interested in listening to them.
yes,
And to put them
so,
on the council agenda.
and because we're not doing the other stream bank project too, we have a stream bank project, actually it's starting moving materials to the site tomorrow. Whatever funds are remaining at the end of that project, which I'm estimating at about 100,000, would be able to put towards actual implementation then of this engineering plans that are put together. I have asked them whenever they put the plans together to design it in a way that it can be implemented in phases as money becomes available. Because it is a big stretch, it's about a mile, which is stream bank restorations cost around $120 to $250, even up to $300 a linear foot. So,
Okay, on the one that you're hoping to, whatever you have, since it got canceled on the first one, to move in the second one, how much of that would be a match for what we would need, or is that going to be?
I will bring back some numbers on that. I don't think we would have to do the whole 40 because of the match on that,
Okay.
that I already have. So, I could bring back the details on that, the next council meeting.
Why don't,
for
before
you.
that, why don't you just have that all available to us before the next council meeting, so that when they come, your group comes in, is it okay with you, Glenn? So we can maybe get that to us next couple of weeks, let us digest that, and then have it ready when they come up, we'll know what to, is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, quick, we've got $75,000 in the budget amendment for the Corps of Engineers study for Triplet Creek. How is this gonna play together?
Yeah.
Well,
That's for stormwater,
yeah.
isn't it, Joe?
That's for.
That was the match for
That's for
stormwater.
that's for the study on Triplet Creek.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Which is completely separate.
which is completely separate. The study that you would get from the Corps, it's general, it's not permit-ready material. It's gonna be more of a general overview, and my understanding it was county-wide too for that 150, right? And not just within the city limits. So whatever they come back to you, that would not be a project or information that you would be able to go out and actually apply for permits to do construction work. It's a much more detailed than what they would be, what they
Okay,
would be
well,
doing.
What we'll do then is we will get that information to us. Joyce and I will work on this with Joe, and we'll see how, if at all, that can be, whatever we can do with that, okay? Can you get that to us in a couple weeks?
Yeah, well, yeah, I could definitely get you the financial information, and I'll get as much as I can from the
That'd be great. If you
engineering
do that,
firm
they-
before.
And we have money in the budget for this?
We have budgeted $75,000 as our part of the match for the 100, is that right?
That's something, that's
That's
something.
different.
I know that she's asking, we don't have anything, what we have is what is, for the Trip Creek study, not for this.
Okay.
This will be in addition to,
Oh, I see. That's what I.
because we made an agreement with the Corps, and by doing that, they would promise 150
To study.
if study, right, Joe? And we would match
50%.
50%.
That's just for the study. Okay, and this is different.
Well, part of it's a study.
I'm sure it's all connected, but,
But it's not in the budget.
Columns,
We've only
right.
budgeted for the previous one,
got it.
right? Okay.
Yeah, and also from that meeting afterwards, you didn't join us on the trip, but we went down to Clearfield, where Dry Creek feeds into Triplet Creek. There is a spoil pile. I thought it was a levee, that it's not a flood levee or a flood wall. So we actually walked down there with the Corps, and we're gonna be working with the Brown County Fiscal Court on that down there in the Clearfield area, of actually looking into removing those spoil piles and doing some land acquisition along with the FEMA property that they're already acquiring,
Yes.
so we can remove that spoil pile and kind of create a place without people for the water to flow into instead of where people are actually living. So, to help with some of the
We're all
flood
for that.
issues. Too, so that kind of came out of that meeting
Okay.
too, we went up to the site and visited that with them.
Thanks, April. Any other
So-
questions for April? Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other public comments?
Yes. Alan?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alan Call. I am the current 911 director for Brown County 911. And I come before you today to ask that the city of Moorhead assist the 911 board in purchasing of EMD software. EMD is Emergency Medical Dispatching, and it's through PowerPhone. They are a nationwide known company. 99.9% of 911 services in the United States do PowerPhone EMD. PowerPhone software assists dispatchers with obtaining the correct information needed on medical calls. The system is also designed to give life-saving information to the callers, teaches them, talks them through doing CPR on everybody, adult, children, infants, and also dealing with bleeding control. By purchasing the system, it will allow all 3 of our workstations access to a system. Right now, we only have 1. The 911 board has approved $1,373.50 towards the system in hopes that the city will provide the other half.
So how much, 13, how much?
$1,373.50 to get 3 systems. That includes everybody being certified in competency, everything that we would need to do to prove that we are competent in doing the EMD.
Is that with the third, with once it's bought, once it's purchased, how much additional funds would be for ongoing maintenance, or is that all part of it?
It's all part of it.
Okay, all right. So no monthly fees or nothing like that? Okay. So you're asking, okay. Any questions for Alan? No?
I
Thank you,
guess
sir.
the county is gonna use professional man at all.
The 911 board is doing half of it.
It's a joint board.
It is going through the city county, but
So why would we,
I was asked to come on behalf of the 911 board.
well, I would ask that we go back and that we share all that all together. That's just my opinion, you don't vote how you want.
You mean,
The
you
county's
need to
not-
have additional funds put in from both entities to make it, to cover it, right?
It's a joint
Yeah,
board.
that's what I'm saying.
Why should we pay?
Right.
I mean, this goes back to all our city residents live in the county, but all our county residents don't live in the city, but
Could we table this until we find out whether the county is?
Yes, Lincoln's here, Lincoln's representing the county tonight, Lincoln Cottle. I want to go ahead and recognize Lincoln. Lincoln is administrative assistant to Judge Blevins. We appreciate you being here, Lincoln. So, yeah, that's fine, Bill, I think it's a good idea. If we're splitting it anyway, we might as well split all of it, right?
we cut in thirds.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for that? Any other comments? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to quarterly reports. Tony Pence and Downtown Moore Incorporated. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Had a good antique market this weekend?
We did. In fact, we'll start with that. We had 647 people paid. We had 26 vendors for that, which is the biggest market we've had in recent memory. We've done very well with that. Next thing up on the festival agenda is June 4th, the Day in the Country Arts and Crafts Fair that we'll have on First Street. We've had a lot of attention, interest in that already. And of course, the Freedom Fest coming up after that. We did get our notification last week that we've been accredited for the 3rd straight year, doing these sorts of things, as a national Main Street program, as well as a state certified program. And these things you're talking about, the trail things, these are all those livability issues that we spend a lot of time on. And, you know, I know we've got, we've worked with tourism on these festivals are all joint ventures with tourism, as well as the bike hitching posts you see through town, and some of these other things that we've been doing. Another idea that we have is this spring cleanup thing, and we want to throw at you guys, would the city help cover that with some labor and that sort of thing? If we did a downtown cleanup, business owners do it's pretty self-explanatory, really. Just have a dedicated day to it and clean up downtown heading into the spring and the summer. And we'll put more of that together, but taking temperature down because of being interested.
Tell them a little bit about the dates for the Freedom Fest and all that, what we've kind of.
Oh, back up to that, yeah. Well, the Freedom Fest is going to be on Friday night, the 1st, I think it is, right, of July.
With the rain date on the.
3rd, on Sunday the 3rd. And that works in more synergy with the GSP scholars that are going to be here. The Saturday, they won't be here to town.
And 4th of July is on a Monday, which would be a work day on Tuesday, so we've contacted our fireworks supplier who did it last year, and we've already got him down for the 1st on Friday, which would have the parade, the 5K like we did last year, and then we'd have a rain date for all that on Sunday.
Right.
I think there's gonna be some other things possibly on Saturday. Jeff Fannon's gonna do some things, I think, but just want everybody to kind of get that in their mind on the date.
Friday night, you know, going into that. And, we expect another a big event this year for that. Speaking to the spring cleaning thing, once more, we need to get with Greg and him and the guys over here and see what all we need to do to pull that together. Because I think we can get some volunteers from like, some of the fraternities and that kind of thing. And maybe inspiration centers, guys might be interested in helping themselves.
I already got the phone call and said yes, sir.
Well, you
Yeah.
talk about the fraternities and sororities, correct me if I'm wrong, Glenn, but the county program, I don't know if you know about this, not at Lincoln, but the county program, I don't think they allow them to do that anymore, do they, on the roadsides? I've heard that some of those, they've not allowed them, you see the signs up, this
They're
is,
not doing it for money anymore,
that's it, what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well,
which we'd like to see it again, but,
yeah,
We'll invite them to town.
there you go.
but yeah, they can still, like, our fraternity's still got an area that they have to clean, but that's just voluntary.
Okay.
And I think, we can get enough volunteers. I think it'd be a big day here in town, kind of like with the lake kind of deal. And we'll continue planning on that, and thank you for committing to that.
Yes.
And as we look at funding into the next fiscal year, please consider, the county's not come to play. They no longer fund us, as y'all well know, so I would ask that you consider funding us, a little stronger than what we have in the past.
But you are gonna go speak to fiscal court, is that right?
If invited to be on their agenda, we will certainly go address that, if you can make that happen, at some point.
Maybe next month, it's
All right. Well, I don't want to, but if you would put that on the agenda, it'd
Yes,
be
sir.
great, so we can talk to them. And then, one of the things too, that's later on in the agenda, it's item 13A, is the crosswalk. I would add, this Wednesday, Mark Arnold from Design Works will be here in town. He'll be at New City meeting, and we'll be looking at some things, and he'll be available afterwards for some meetings, if you folks want to meet and talk about that. We have some design that we're drilling down on that cross the intersection at Bridge Street and Main Street on the design for, crosswalk and that sort of thing, and look at that, see what we've got before we go paint that, and let's see if we can incorporate some of this new planning that we've invested in to
Are
make
you
that
talking about
attractive.
on the, painting on the street?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, right in the middle of the
Right.
intersection. You'll turn that into, literally into a crosswalk that no one could mistake that
Right.
being a crosswalk.
Can't have any questions about
Right.
that.
So
Are you
that's-
talking about where the blinking light is, or are
Yes.
you talking about the crosswalk that
All of
everybody
it.
uses as a crosswalk, but isn't there?
Both.
Both those places.
Both.
Yeah, right. Incorporating the new crosswalk in the stop sign area, where, you identify that more as a safer, make that a safer area for that to finish the plan, basically. And then, if we could do that, that would, be a short-term project with this planning thing that we could accomplish pretty quickly, is something up there with design. And then, of course, we're working, considering still,